everyone, and welcome to another educational screen printing video by Catspit Productions. And this should be a very educational video. I could not keep myself from doing this video right away. I was going to do it next week, but I really just have to share this with you because it's so cool. It's something that I was thinking about for a few years, actually, and it just didn't, I didn't understand why no one has tried this, or maybe they have, but it's just not out there. I don't know. It's possible. But what we're talking about today is emulsion and its responsiveness to specific wavelengths of light. Now, I'm not an expert. I'm not, some kind of physicist or anything like that, and I am not saying that this is, going to replace what we already use. However, this could be an advantageous, is that a word? Right? Yeah. Piece of information, that's not right, to know. It could be a good piece of information to know. So let's talk a little bit about film positives and how they work. All right, so we all know that emulsion is responsive to UV light pretty much exclusively, okay? And the way we create film positives today is we use an inkjet piece of film. It's printed with an inkjet printer, and we use black ink to physically block the UV light from coming into contact with the emulsion on the screen during exposure, right? This is actually the film for that size print right there. Okay, so what happened here is this piece of film physically blocked the light from coming in contact with the emulsion during exposure, and the emulsion remains water soluble and it washes out, right? Here's the thing. Emulsion, again, is only responsive to UV light. In photography, we can filter certain spectrums of the wavelength, certain wavelengths, follow me here, out of the spectrum with colored filters, especially with black and white photography. Black and white is very unique in that we can use red, yellow, blue, green filters to take certain parts of the spectrum out and change the look of the exposure because we're missing a certain part of the spectrum. Okay, now follow me here. Furthermore, when we use red and yellow safe lights in the darkroom for photography or for screen printing, the red and yellow is non-UV light. Why is a red or yellow safe light usable? Why does it have no UV light? All right, so you know that we can use red or yellow safe lights to work with emulsion when we're exposing the screens. Why is that? Is it because the light bulb has no UV in it at all? Or is it because the red and yellow coloring of the glass, or whatever it is, coating on the inside, is filtering out the UV light? The latter is your answer. So, why do we then continue to physically block the light with black ink? I'm not sure. Right? This is the Hold Fast 3-color Indian. Remember, I have a video on that. There's the film. Okay. If red and yellow filters can filter out UV light, then why can't I use this as a film positive? All right, so you have to forgive my exuberance here. It's hot, it's Phoenix, it's the desert, it's really hot, and I just couldn't help but make this video. I'm just hacking it out. I hope it's not a horrible video as far as production quality, but I just couldn't keep this contained to myself just because finally I printed the film because of my friend who stopped by, who is a chemist, and we were talking about different things, and we're actually planning a video for direct-to-garment. We're going to look at direct-to-garment compared to screen printing. And this woman that I know, Natalie, is very, very knowledgeable with direct-to-garment, so she's going to share her tips with us in an upcoming video, right? But I had mentioned this to her, and she said, why don't you just print the film and try it, you know, because she's a chemist. You know, and I'm more of a physicist type guy, physics, you know. And so I thought it would work, and she wasn't sure, but I wasn't sure really either, just because, you know. So I printed the film, red and yellow. At first I printed red and yellow, and what's very interesting to note about my first exposure, my first test, which is the only one I've done so far. We're going to do some right now, okay, but what's very interesting about this piece of film, and I don't know if I can show you this up close, but when I first started printing it, the deep red has a little bit of black in it. It's transparent, you can see through it, but it has a little bit of black. So at the top of the rectangle here, it started printing a lot of black, and then it finally, you know, evened out to red. And what I found was in the exposure of that test, okay, the top area where the black was printing lost resolution and was horrible. The edge was horrible. And down at the bottom where it was pure red or perfectly printing the deep red with a little bit of black mixed in was sharp. But what was even more amazing was that the completely transparent yellow portion of the film worked perfectly. And the reason why is because yellow and red filters will filter out UV light. Okay, so check it out. I used a screen that kind of was not the greatest screen, but this was the first piece of film I printed and did an exposure, and you know, actually worked quite well. It's completely transparent, as you can see. Okay, you know, so now I'm going to do a test with a piece of film like this. All right, sorry, let me turn this view around so I can see if I'm... So now I'm going to do a complete, you know, piece of yellow film. All right, sorry, I'm winging this, guys, because my exuberance, I just can't keep this video in my locker anymore. All right, and then I'm going to try this just to see what happens with varying intensities of the red and yellow, to see what happens, okay? And I'm gonna try to get another piece of film here and put some tiny, tiny little dots. We're gonna try to make a halftone with yellow dot and see if we can do that, and I'll follow up this video with that if I can. If I can get, we're gonna try to do it through Photoshop, I think, and print a yellow dot halftone and see how that would render. Okay, so stay tuned for that. If I can get that worked out, I'll make a video. But let's go ahead and actually expose. Let me get this out of the way, sorry. Let's do these two together right now, shall we? All right, so let's see if we can do this. We'll do the yellow one first. And I'm just wasting some screens here today. All right, so this is it. You can see, look, there it is, yellow. Okay, right? Smack this down on here. Okay. Sorry guys, I'm like totally hacking and winging this video today because I just wanted to do this. I didn't even clean the glass. So look, you can barely see the film positive, right? That's it. It's yellow. Okay, so there it is. You guys can't, probably even under the yellow light, you can't even see it. So, Okay, and I'm going to go right from the exposure unit to the washout booth, and I have another camera over there. Okay. I'm trying to speed it up a little bit by breaking the seal, but I don't want to lift up my glass. There we go. Okay, so there it is. Yellow film positive. Let's try it out. Oops, I just hit the mic, sorry. Yeah, wow. All right, so we're wasting a couple screens today, but this is pretty fun. It's pretty cool. So interesting experiment, don't you think? You know, and I'm not sure what this means or what you can do with this. If you wanted to do other things, you'd have to do some testing, of course. You know, but it's an interesting concept when you're talking about people who have troubles getting density in the film to block the light, right? Well, you know, density may not be what we should be looking at, yeah? Maybe filtration. Maybe the ink for inkjet ink could be clear. Kind of the same way a piece of glass has clear UV filtering coatings on it. I don't know. Are they too expensive? You know, what's the deal here? Why has no one created an ink for inkjet printers that just simply filters out UV light? All right, so really interesting, don't you think? So let's see what happens with this crazy piece of film we have here with these, you know, weird things. Let's see what happens with varying intensities of these colors. What happens? Does it get more difficult to wash out? All right, so this was very interesting. Here's the first one that I did initially before I made the video to see if this would even work. And there you go. And like I said, up here, there's a little bit of black that was printing out in the red, and it actually is sharper down here in the red instead of up here where it's black, or more black. Okay, so that was interesting. Again, I feel like the yellow seems to work pretty well, but so does a very deep, intense red, I think. Okay. Then, let's see, then we did this one with the yellow film, right? So this one washed out pretty good, but it seemed to actually, you know, take a little bit longer. Okay, again, I'm using Textile PC Blue, Sadicam Textile PC Blue on an LED exposure unit, and my exposure was 15 seconds. So I could probably reduce the exposure by 2 or 3 seconds, and it might be a little bit easier to wash out, possibly. Okay, but, you know, very interesting concept here, right? You know what I'm saying? It's just fascinating, and I don't know why I did this video. I don't know why I'm showing you this, other than that to demonstrate the principle that, you know, emulsion is really blind to red or yellow light, technically speaking. Okay, so that's right. And, you know, it could be, and I'm probably ruining my screen. I have a little water on here yet. You know, waterproof inkjet film is not waterproof. It gets ruined if it gets wet. But, you know, I thought that this could be, like I said before, helpful to people who are having trouble with density in their film. Okay, but, you know, the truth is it would require a little testing, and I'm going to try to create some kind of halftone film positive with this yellow dot or red dot and see what we can do. So actually here, what we see here is okay, so the red and yellow areas were blocking very well, but this transitional area didn't have enough color in it. Okay, so that's interesting. It's actually pretty interesting. So you can see here, you know, oh, let me turn that around for you guys, sorry. All right, there you go. You can see here that the intense red and the yellow block the light fine. It was some of these transitional areas of this particular piece of film where the red and yellow transitioned. I think in here and here, you know what I'm saying? So that's interesting. That gives us a little idea about color intensity. So I think that, oh, and here actually, it was the other way around. I thought, let's see, get this up here so you can see. I thought this was the red or the yellow circle and this was the red circle, but so the color intensity definitely matters, because look at this yellow compared to this yellow, and it was cured. See that? So that's interesting, right? So definitely, you know, the intensity of the red or yellow used is definitely a factor here. So the less intense or colorful it is, the less likely it is to block the light successfully. Okay, and I just got another water stain on my, see what happens? Got water, but that's okay. We were just testing today. So this was really, really interesting experiment, and that I hope this could lead to breakthroughs in the industry as far as the inkjet ink that we use, because technically speaking, I think maybe I said this before, but we could possibly create a deep yellow, red, or some kind of amber colored you know, inkjet ink that would filter out the UV light. Or perhaps if the chemical is cheap enough, you could have a clear. It could print clear, man. I mean, it could print clear. It would just be a UV filter. So it's very interesting. And again, I'm going to try to do some kind of dot or halftone and see what happens. Because again, this is all very experimental. I don't know if anybody's ever tried this. I don't know why nobody's ever tried this or why this isn't out there, but you know, It's interesting, isn't it? It's completely possible to burn a screen with this yellow right here that you can see through, 100% transparent. Okay, but it burned this, reds, you know. So really interesting, if you ask me. Fascinating little experiment, and you know, it definitely demands or calls for more research and attention and development and looking at it and seeing, you know, what color of inkjet ink actually works the best. Thanks a lot for watching today. I hope this video was fun, amusing, informational, educational, and valuable to you. So if you like my videos, please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I sound like Batman or Captain Kirk or something there. So check out the YouTube channel, subscribe, and of course, if you need, you know, screen printing equipment or supplies, check out Catspit, screenprintsupply.com. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time.